Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is my cute little daughter. You're not little anymore. This is my cute daughter, Braylee.
This is my awesome, amazing, wonderful, beautiful, courageous mom, Kayli.
Oh, that was nice. Mine was really bad now.
It's okay.
In comparison, but thank you for that.
Of course.
I really love the courageous.
Yeah.
Courageous.
Strong, powerful.
Thank you. But I'm trying to feel that power as we go into this episode. We were actually just having a conversation with Casey. He was asking us about the podcast. Clearly, he hasn't been watching. It's fine. But he was just asking a bunch of questions like, how often are we uploading? What are we doing? He didn't know that we hadn't actually put it onto a podcast platform yet. And he was like, why? And I said, because I don't really know which one to use for sure. And he was like, use this one. This is what we use. So that is going to be happening tonight. He was trying to give me information, but we were getting ready to come up here. And I was like, don't tell me right now. I'll forget everything. You have to tell me later once we're done. And we were also having a conversation. I'll let you talk because once I sit down right here, I want to just blah, 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 blah. And I want you to feel like you're talking about these things too.
Well, we had a few different conversations before we filmed. One about our name. We've like narrowed it down kind of.
Yeah.
So we should probably figure that out since it's now episode 5. I really like just simple Kay and Bray, mother-daughter podcast. But she doesn't like being called Kay.
I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I just haven't. There's only one person that calls me Kay out of like all of my people.
I call you Mama Kay.
And then you said that. I was just thinking, I'm so dumb. I was just downstairs like grabbing the SD cards because I left them down there. And I was going to say, Braylee, what if we just called this podcast, Call Her Mommy? Because, there's Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
I was just kidding though. Do you think that would do well? Do you think that funny. People would?
We might get like...
I'm just kidding.
Sued.
I'm totally just kidding, but I just thought that I was, real funny and clever with that.
Were you giggling walking up the stairs?
I was just like, I was giggling because I was like, that's so stupid, but.
We also had a conversation about how many podcasts we should like upload and film a week. So hopefully there will be more coming. I personally like just filming them. We film them on Mondays and then upload them on Wednesdays in like a perfect week. Sometimes, it doesn't happen that way.
Well, just because we were traveling.
Yeah.
And I do like that a lot, but it's also hard sometimes, especially like traveling or if anything disrupts the schedule or, thinking of what summer is going to look like or once you move, what that's going to look like.
I like to focus on one topic a day so then I can say the best things for that topic, So I like filming just one podcast a day, but we're going to figure out what's like best for us.
Well, because we're hoping to do more. Yeah. So that is the bigger conversation is that we would really love to do 2 podcasts a week.
Also, a little side note, if I keep like moving, it's because I did a cycling class this morning and my butt cheeks hurt so bad.
Good for you. I warned Braylee. I was like, just get ready. But nothing can make you understand that pain until you have experienced it yourself.
Yeah. Well, everyone was like, I love working out in the mornings when I once in a lifetime do because I feel so refreshed and like ready to go. Not that class. I was ready to get back into bed and forget it ever happened. I literally slept for an hour and it was the best sleep I've ever gotten.
Good. That's good. I wanted to love cycling. I really, really wanted to love it because I know so many people who do. It's not for me. It's just not for me. Casey got us a Peloton for Christmas one year, and we were so excited. And I had been running, and I know cycling can be better for your body. And I felt claustrophobic on it. And I was just looking at my treadmill the whole time, just like, I don't want to be on this.
Well, I don't feel that way, but I don't like running that much.
We kind of had a hard time figuring out what we wanted to talk about today. And then I remembered a comment that I saw. And someone had just mentioned that they noticed that I am hard on myself a lot. And that can rub off on other people. And I think that since I've been vlogging for so long, people have picked up on that. And it is something that I know that I do. And I work on it. And then I don't notice I do it. And I think it's something that all of us do in a way. Some more than others. Some do it more with how they're thinking. They're always thinking that. But since I do vlog, it's something that I talk about more than maybe other people do. Again, I wish I didn't do that, but it is something that I do. And I do think that they're right. that can rub off on other people, or teach my kids that they should do that. Like, I wouldn't want you talking bad about yourself. I don't want you thinking those things either, so I shouldn't do it. Remember that, and told Braylee I think that we should talk about negative self-talk, because it is something that we do. I didn't realize is I want to point out my flaws before other people can. I want to beat them to it.
I think that's like a defense tactic, like you're trying to save yourself from the judgment, kind of.
Yeah,
and I think a lot
so.
of people do that. Like, I realize when my friends get in my car, I'm always like, I'm so sorry, it's messy, I have trash everywhere, I'm so sorry. Even if, like, they probably don't care because every single high schooler has dirty cars.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a normal thing. But I think a lot of people do that. I don't think that, like, I've even noticed that you point out, like, bad things about, like, yourself or your belongings or anything. And I don't think it's rubbed off on me at all.
Well, I know that comment wasn't meant to be rude.
Yeah, I
at
don't
all.
think so either.
I think that it is something to be reminded of, because it is something that I want to work on. Going back to what you're saying is you just might be used to it. You might just not notice that I do it because it's something that I've always done. Or maybe that's why you feel like you have to point out to other people when they get into your car that it's messy, because you've watched me do that.
I also think it's like, obviously you're not going to be like, sorry, my house is a mess, like, to our family, because it's all of our house. Or, like, be like, sorry, I smell bad, or, like, something like that, because we're family, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to, like, catch on to those things as much as maybe other people. It's the outside world looking in.
Right.
When you don't really care if your family's going to judge you, because I don't care if you guys come into my room and it's a mess, but, like, if my friends do, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I care when I go into your room and it's a mess.
No,
I care a lot.
I love when my room's dirty.
I also think that I overshare. I am like...
She does.
It's not a good thing all the time, but I overshare a lot. So if I'm, like, thinking it, I'm saying it.
Pretty much everyone, unless you're, like, the most amazing human, has negative self-talk, because it's so easy to be like, the biggest judge of yourself.
Your worst critic.
Yeah, your worst critic. Because, well, it's your body. You want to be perfect. You want to look like all these supermodels that you're comparing to yourself on social media. You want to have a better personality. Like, you always want yourself to be better, which I think can be a good thing, like, pushing yourself to the school. But it's also, you're not going to push yourself to a goal if you're constantly tearing yourself down. You're just going to pull yourself farther back. Like, I've noticed, like, I want to be in shape, not, like, to be skinnier or, like, my body more toned. I just want to feel better, because when you're eating crappy food, you're going to feel crappy.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm like, I'm so fat, I hate my body, like, I hate what I look like, that's when I'm not working out, because I'm so self-conscious that I just want to stay in my room and, like, eat chips.
Right. Yeah, it just feels better to not put yourself out in that way and feel like you're putting forth effort and it not being enough or something.
Exactly. I just started going to the gym today. I'm going to pretend like I go all the time. And I just didn't care. I was like, all these people are working towards the goal. Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that a gym is probably a place where there is a lot of negative self-talk happening, when really just the fact that you are there, you should feel like so proud of yourself. Or, I mean, I don't like working out at a gym, but I also did run today. And no matter where you are, though, today when I was running, I was like, gosh dang it, I am in a bad place once again, and I was struggling to keep up, and I got tired quick, and then I was just like, it's okay. You have to start somewhere, and the journey can be really fun. Even if you feel like you take steps back, whether it's, fitness goals or just life in general, just, whatever it is. If you feel like you take steps back, just remember that the journey to where you want to be can be fun and can be enjoyable, and you can learn so much. So that's what I always think when I'm like, all right, well, I'm tired. I don't think I can go for as long as I wanted to. Just remembering that, like, it's okay. Got to start somewhere and be proud of yourself.
Something about me is, like, I don't really compare myself to other people. I don't know why, but I've just never really, like, I think everybody's beautiful, and obviously sometimes I'm like, man, what it would be like to have those abs, But I always compare myself to my younger self, which is even worse, I think.
Oh, just wait till you're in your late 30s.
Yeah, I'm always like, I was so skinny my freshman year. I wish I looked like that again. And it's like, it can be so sad sometimes, like, looking back at pictures of you when you were younger and being like, why don't I look like that? I haven't even grown or anything. But your body is always growing. Your hormones are always changing. And so I think don't compare yourself to your younger self, because that's just going to tear you down. Again, you're not going to reach that goal if you're always wanting to go backwards.
I think it is just so important to move forward and realize what you can be and you know, set new goals. But I think everyone does that.
Whenever I compare myself to my like younger versions of myself, I always try and think about my mental health too, and like where I was as a person. Because when I was a freshman, I was like so embarrassed to eat in front of people. I don't know why I had this fear that everyone was going to stare at me when I was eating, but I was so scared. But I've grown so much since then that I stuff my face in front of anyone. I don't care who it is. I'm like so much happier as a person and so much more confident with who I am. Maybe not like my looks, and there are goals that I want to reach, but like me as a person, I like myself so much more than my younger self.
Yeah. I think that that's a really good point, and also something that I try to do. Or, you know, if you are in a place that feels like you're kind of like starting over, is realizing that for whatever reason you needed a break or you needed to take a couple steps back, and honoring that and continue to move forward. Because that is the biggest goal with anything, is just continuing to move forward.
Negative self-talk, like whether it's about your body, your mind, how smart you are in school, you trying to reach a goal, it's so detrimental. Is that a word?
Yeah. Detrimental.
Detrimental?
To your health, to your mental
to
health.
your mental health, and even like your health, your physical health, because all you're doing is harming like your inside, I feel like.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest struggle with negative self-talk is I'm always telling myself I can't do it. You know, I have all of these big dreams and hopes and ideas and things that I think would be really great. And I stop myself every single time with negative self-talk. Like, I'm not going to be able to keep up on that. I'm not going to be able to go through with that. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And I have so many mental blocks because of what I tell myself. Something that was really huge was actually starting this podcast. It was something that I really wanted to do, and it was something that I talked myself out of every single time. You know, there are always things that can hold you back from doing what you really, really want to do, and things that you're really passionate about doing. Sometimes you just have to like put your head down and know it's not going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect, and you do it anyway, and you show up for yourself anyway. That is something that really helps me when I start with that negative self-talk. What do you think that you have done?
Something that I've always had really negative self-talk about is cheer, and I haven't cheered for a couple years, but I used to always like really want to get a skill, and I would, right before I would throw, I'd be like, I cannot do this. Like, I don't know why my coaches think I'm going to be able to throw this, but I can't. And I always landed on my neck when I thought that.
Yeah.
And I never got that skill if that was my mindset. And I started, like, I would practice on the tramp during quarantine. And every time I told myself before I got on the tramp, I would say, I can do this, I got it, I'm going to land this perfectly. And every single time I did. Mm-hmm. Because things like that is such a mental mind game.
Yeah.
In cheer, we always say that we have, like, mind blocks because you're not able to overcome like that fear, especially if you do start landing on your neck so many times from telling yourself that you can't do it.
Just landing on your neck, you say that like it's just like normal.
I've landed on my neck so many times that it is just normal.
I just didn't do it and I would land on my neck.
Like, there's this video of me and I do like a round off and I go to do a tuck and I like reach over my shoulder and like land on the ground so hard and it looks awful.
That's it. Braylee has landed on her neck a lot and has landed in awful positions doing gymnastics, and then she like breaks her foot making a TikTok video, jumping up and touching a door frame. I was like, this is how you like injure yourself?
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Another situation that I had negative self-talk about was when I tore my ACL. I remember this moment so vividly because it was such a like hard moment in my life. I had been like drugged out the days before from
drugged out.
She
was on pain medication.
But this was like the first day I was actually up trying to do things. And the first thing that was on our itinerary was to take a shower. And my mom, I was staying in my mom's room because I couldn't get up the stairs. And my room's on our top level. Her shower has like a little like step you have to get into. And I remember I couldn't take my clothes off. So I was in, a shirt and sweats, I think.
Well, we got some of them off?
I think I was in spandex and a shirt.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get anything else off. Like, my body just didn't want to cooperate. and I was standing in front of the ledge, and I couldn't pick up my leg. And I remember that was such a hard time in my life, because you trust your body so much to, like, do all those amazing things. And when it shuts down, you just start thinking so many awful things about your body. I was like, why can't I do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought my recovery was never going to, like, progress. And I was always just going to be stuck here standing in front of the shower, not be able to get in. And, like, finally I lifted up my leg. I'm pretty sure you carried me into the shower, honestly.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, in moments like that, it is really good, even if you don't want to, even if you think, I don't want to complain, I don't want to sound like a baby, I don't want to be vulnerable, to open up to someone. Because I remember Braylee standing there, and I know it was hard for you, and she was saying, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And I could hear and feel her frustration and her feeling that she was never going to get better. But because she was able to vocalize that to me, I was able to be the positive voice and tell her, no, you're going to be able to do it. It's okay. This is just this moment. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be here for you. You can do it. Because I remember watching her mind telling her that she can't do it, and it's all connected and it feels different. And I was able to remind her, like, no, this is just for right now. You're going to be able to do it. And she did it. And we took a shower together. Fully clothed, both of us. It was a moment, but, you know, no matter what is going on in life, whether you're like Braylee, just had surgery and it's not all connecting, or if you're just in a bad place, in a bad situation, and it's not all connecting, reach out for help. And I think that it can be really hard and scary and vulnerable, and you don't want to come across weak. Mm-hmm. But it isn't weak to ask for help. Everyone needs help sometimes. And, you know, as a parent, when you're watching your kids struggling and you can see that in their face, making sure that they feel like it's a safe place, making sure that you can be that positive voice that's reminding them, that's pushing those bad thoughts and those bad beliefs out and lifting them.
Yeah, I remember that, like, small moment of her being like, no, you got this. This is just, like, in this moment, your body's going to heal. Like, you need to trust your body. And I'm pretty sure that same day I literally walked up the stairs and, like, was able to get into my bed, which I wasn't able to do before.
Well, you know, sometimes you just need that help reminding yourself, because you could do it all along. But when it's not all feeling normal, you're just feeling off, you just need that little reminder, and then you were like, boom, good.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, as a parent, that is something that can completely change your kid's mindset, is just being like, no, you can do this, and pushing them to, like, be their best selves in that situation or that moment. I just had a conversation with somebody, and they were being so, like, negative about themselves. They're like, I'm so stressed. I want to be the perfect friend and the perfect son and the best person on the team, and I want to just impress all these people, but I can't. And they just did not, like, believe in themselves at all. And me just being like, no, you can do this. Like, focus on what is most important to you and push yourself to be that person. And the next day they felt so much better. Yeah. And I noticed such a difference in their attitude about things. And so just being there for, like, your friends as a kid, even, like, being there for your parents, because they're also humans too, and they have doubts about themselves also, and being there for your kids, like, that is something that can be life-changing.
I think that is a tricky thing about being a parent, is as a parent you don't want to put your stuff onto your kids, and you want to be a strong figure in their life. I think in a lot of cases that you want to seem like you have it all together. I remember thinking, when am I going to have it all together? My parents had it all together. Like, my grandparents for sure did. We all have struggles. I definitely have never wanted to put more on my kids, but there have been things that have been going on in my life that I've opened up to Braylee about. And I think that the good that can come from that is having your kids realize, like, none of us have it all together. This is a safe place. I know I'm not perfect. You don't have to show up perfect, and we can have these conversations. Braylee was able to be vulnerable with me in those moments because she knows it's a safe place. And I know that's a very different situation, but just in general, that's what I've wanted to create with my kids, is a safe place knowing I'm not perfect. You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, and I think it's easier to share, like, your hard moments with people who you know aren't going to judge you because they have also shared their hard times with you. Just like in other relationships in your life, having that open space, like you said, and those open conversations is going to make an impact on your relationship. So also remember that in your mother and daughter relation, or your kid and parent
we say mother and daughter, but we just mean parent, child. I also think, like what you were saying with your friend, sometimes our kids just need us to listen. As a parent, we want to always give advice and always, I'm doing quotes, fix things. But sometimes they just need to vent, and they just need to tell someone who understands without giving too much advice.
Yeah, we're only using like the torn ACL and getting into the shower, but there's been so many times that I've had negative self-talk or like been down about things, and because my mom has been open with me, I have felt like I can share those things with you.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all my struggles, me and my mom have gone through together, and I think that's so important to have that connection with your kid or your parent.
I also think that something that we need to remember is, as a parent, you think your kid is so great. So if Braylee comes to me with something because she's thinking or believing something, or there's something going on, and she says, I think this about myself, I want to immediately be like, that is not true. You are great at that, or you look great, or this or that. And remembering, like I said, sometimes we just need to listen and understand that that is where they are, and do more than just say, no, that's not true. That, it probably is just not true. It's a lie. But be understanding that that is a belief that they have, and do more explaining instead of just saying, like, no, that's silly to think that way. Braylee's struggling with how she looks. I'm going to tell her everything that I think is great about her. I'm going to tell her how beautiful I think she is, how cute her hair looks, how much I love her outfit. And I'm going to do that in the days following, because I want her to stop believing that, she doesn't look good enough, instead of just being like, that's silly. It's not silly to her. Those are beliefs, and we want to stop them. But I just think that it needs to be a bigger conversation.
Well, and that kind of goes along with my mom being like my best friend, in quotes, because it's more than that. But when a parent gives you like a compliment or is telling you good things about yourself, I take it so much more deeply than I would if my friend is saying that, because most of the time friends say compliments with a little grain of salt,
Yeah.
Like they don't completely mean them, but your parent's not gonna lie to you if they think your outfit's ugly. At least my mom.
Sorry.
But going along with negative self-talk, I coach this girl in cheer every week, and some weeks she's just having like a rough week. Every single time I drop her off, I'm like, okay, this week all I want you to focus on is the positive things that you did this week, and then tell yourself that you're going to do even better next week. Tell yourself that you're going to stick this tuck, and it's going to be the very, very best tuck. And I talked to her about this before spring break, and then I coached her today, and right before she was going, she was like, okay, this is going to go so high in the air, it's going to be so good, and I'm going to land it. And she did so good today.
Yeah.
And I think that can be so positive in every single day activities. If I wake up and I'm like, man, I hate my outfit, I look terrible, I look fat, I hate my hair, it's frizzy, then that's how I'm going to feel all day. But if I put on an outfit and I'm like, okay, I look so good, I love my hair, everything's going to go great, then I feel so much more confident. The other day I was wearing an outfit and I was like, okay, I kind of look chubby and maybe it's not the most flattering, and I went into my mom's room and she was like, your outfit's so cute. And I was like, I don't look perfect in it, but confidence is key. Do you remember me saying that? And then all day I was like, okay, confidence is key. It's going to be okay. And sometimes you do just have to fake it till you make it. And not everything about your appearance you're going to think is great. And not every grade you're going to get, you're going to think you're so smart. But if you're constantly telling yourself that, eventually you're going to believe it and it's going to be true.
Right. Being aware that the things that we tell ourselves are oftentimes a lie. To really like take a step back and just think that's not true. A time in my life that was the most healing and just one of the best times in my life is after we started YouTube. Before that, I had really, really struggled with negative self-talk. I didn't even know how to talk to myself in a positive way. It was just negative all the time. Nothing I did was good enough. And it reflected in my life in a lot of ways. So we had this opportunity to move to California and start YouTube. And also during this time, I had gained a lot of weight. And I just didn't look the way that I felt like I should look. But during this time, I was so happy. I was finding success. I was putting myself out in a way that I never had. I was uploading videos to YouTube for anyone in the world to see, showing up in a way that I didn't feel like I ever could or should show up. But I was doing it anyway, and people were accepting me. I realized my whole entire life I had been lying to myself. This negative talk was just not true. I could be successful at any weight, looking any way, even if I didn't think that it was the way that I should look, and making crafts that maybe weren't the greatest or perfect, but something I enjoyed doing. I could do all of these things imperfectly. Once I realized that, it changed everything. And I'm really grateful. It is good to have someone in your life that can help you to pull yourself out of that negative self-talk, but also knowing that you have the power to do that yourself. And sometimes that looks like just showing up and doing it, no matter what. Don't let anything stop you. And I know that can be really hard to do. It took me a long time. I was 27 when I did that. And seriously, before that, it was nothing but negative all up in here. And, I proved to myself that was not true.
Sometimes I think it feels easier to hold yourself back from like amazing opportunities out of fear. And just, it's so much easier to tell yourself, oh, I can't do that. Like, I'm not even going to try, than be like, okay, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I have anxiety about social things most of the time, and I hate like leaving my room. Like I said, I'm a very homebody. And I got anxiety. I started feeling anxious about things after COVID, just because you are like getting out of being in your house for months and seeing people. And it's just kind of built over the years. This year I signed up for a modeling agency, and it was something that I was so scared about. I mean, I'm not doing anything with it now because it's not for me. But I went to Salt Lake, and I went to like the interview thing, and I was so scared because I did not want to compare myself to all these people. I think the modeling world can be a super toxic place because it is so easy to compare yourself to other people and be negative about yourself because you want to look a certain way, or this company wants you to look a certain way, and that's so hard. But I put all that aside, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I might not be exactly what they're looking for. I might not be tall enough to do like the runway or whatever. But it felt so good getting out of my comfort zone and pursuing something that I was so excited to do.
Yeah.
And I think that just like allowing yourself to, even if it's something so little, like going to a basketball game or going to like your high school football game, and just like letting yourself get out there, it's going to help you be more positive about yourself and be like, okay, that's not that bad. I can do it. Just like you were saying, like, you don't have to be the perfect way or look perfect or be the smartest kid in class to be able to enjoy things in life.
Yeah, just show up. Just do it anyway. And that can be so hard to just do it anyway, but just do it anyway. Also with the modeling thing, Braylee just like decided to move instead. So, maybe it will come back around. You never know.
I was really juggling a lot of things this year. Yeah. I just really wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and I feel like I have. And just doing something so little, like signing up to go to a different country, made me believe in myself so much more. And even if you don't end up going, just sign up and tell yourself you can do it. But you should go.
Yeah, you should definitely.
Especially if you spend thousands of dollars on going.
Yeah, you should definitely do it. There's also the flip side of negative talk, and that is positive talk. And you have touched on this, if you tell yourself that you can do something, like a back tuck. If you're telling yourself that before you go to do it, you're more likely to do that. And I've always heard about manifesting or words of affirmation. And it's not something that I ever really like believed was for me. And I think the reason is because when people were talking a lot about this, it was during a point in my life where I was just feeling a little low. And I remember trying to do words of affirmation one day and just looking at myself and saying all these things. And I was like, this is not it for me. Like
didn't you have the worst day after?
It just made, that was something different. A different time. I'll talk about that too. It was just like, you are, all these things, and you look in the mirror and you do it. And I think it's great. And the people that I listen to talk about it, it was great and it was working for them and I thought it was beautiful. When I was doing it, I was just like, are you serious? Like, And I realized for a long time, I mean, I'm talking over a couple years, I couldn't do positive affirmations and I didn't feel like manifesting. I looked in the mirror every single day and I was like, you're okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You've got this. And that's what I had to do. That was as positive as I could get because it was just during a low point. And that was so helpful. So if you're feeling that way, if you're stuck in this like place where I don't feel like I was negative all around in life or that I was even super negative towards myself, but I just wasn't in this place where I was like ready to grow and ready to like be there. I had to be okay. I needed to be okay to get through the day. And that was really helpful to just look at myself in the eye and be like, you're fine. You're okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a place where I believe in manifesting and I believe in those positive affirmations now. I don't really do a lot of it, but and I believed before too, but for myself, I can look in the mirror now and be like, all these good things are going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
I believe in manifesting that this podcast is going to get to a place where I know it can, and I'm passionate about that, and I'm excited, and I'm going to put forth the effort to get it there because I believe in it.
At the beginning of my junior year, so like a year and a half ago, I was really struggling and I was so sad all of the time. And it was something that was so hard for me, and every single day I always said, is it really worth like waking up and, you know, like pursuing this day? Is it really worth me going to school? Is it really worth like getting outside of like the sadness that I was stuck in? I just hated everything. And it was something that I was stuck in for so many months. And eventually I like started regaining my happiness. I started finding things that I love, and every day I would wake up and say, it's okay. Today might not be perfect, and you might not have everybody in your life that you want to be there, and yeah, life's not perfect, but it's okay. That's something that I do still, like through hard situations. I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. You know, the world's going to keep spinning. And I think about like a globe, and I think of me like so tiny on this map, and just all these things that are going on around me, and like, it's not going to be a big deal in 5 years. I shouldn't let it affect me now. And I think about that all the time. Like, it's going to be okay. And one day, you're not even going to remember this time in your life.
Yeah. It's also okay if you do.
Yeah.
But I think that when we're able to get past a time in our life is to look back on it as a time of growth rather than ever to be disappointed in somewhere that you've been, because that can keep you from continuing to grow. It can pull you back into a dark time. So I think looking back on it and not allow yourself to have negative thoughts, to recognize that you were at that place and you got yourself out of it, because that is such a big accomplishment. So again, to make sure that you're keeping track of that negative self-talk and pulling yourself out of it, even from then.
I think that a lot of negative self-talk also originates from trying to reach someone else's expectations. And that is something I felt a lot during this year when I was trying to figure out what in the world I was going to do with my life. And I think that is a time that I had some of the most negative self-talk, not even about like my image or like the way I looked, but mostly about just my future. I think I was the hardest on myself about that. And I was like, I'm never going to reach everybody's expectations. I'm going to be this failure. I told everyone I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, and now I don't even know what I'm going to do in college. And I think that's some of the most negative self-talk that I've noticed from the people around me.
But I think that those were also your expectations.
Yeah, they were my expectations, but I thought I was trying to reach someone else's. And that's something I noticed from the people all around me, is they're always like, my mom's going to think I'm a failure if I don't go to this school. My mom's going to hate me if I'm not on this high school sports team. The coaches aren't going to think I'm a good player if I don't hit the ball far enough, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that can tear you down again, and it's not going to build you up. I had to start telling myself, I don't care what other people think about me. I don't care if I am a neurosurgeon or if I'm going to live at home for the rest of my life. You know, nobody else's opinions matter when it comes down to it, because when you're dead, you're going to be alone.
Well, I remember during that time, Braylee was not excited about the future at all. She was just like, I just don't want to do it. I just like don't want to even do the future because I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was like, Braylee, you got to bring it back in, girl. Because, you know, I didn't have those expectations for you. I want you to be happy.
I think it's just so easy when you talk yourself up when you're little. Because I don't know who I thought I was when I was little, thinking I was going to be a neurosurgeon. But that's definitely not where I am now.
That's fine.
And it's okay to grow out of what you used to want to be, because, let's be honest, are any of us doing what we wanted to do when you were a little kid? Because I wanted to be a singer, and that's definitely not something that's going to happen. But it's okay to grow out of your own expectations and also not meet your parents. If your parents want you to do, like, all these amazing things, that's great, but sometimes that's not the reality of your life.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do your own thing just like they did their own thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely not worth telling yourself that you're never going to make it in life and, like, not allowing yourself to move forward in your future because you're trying to meet your expectations or your parents' expectations.
You need to remember that as a parent, that we sometimes have to let go of those expectations and help our child grow in the way that they need to grow.
Yeah, I think it's also important as, like, a parent, if your kid comes to you about something that they're excited about, to be accepting of it, because I know a lot of parents that shoot that idea down as soon as it comes, and that is something that the kid's always going to hold on to and something that the kid is going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Well, and I think that if they do come to you with something, you want them to believe in themselves. So to be excited about that, even though it isn't what you thought that it would look like, you thought their future would look like, they might be really, really successful in something because you believed in them when they believed in them. And, you know, like we're talking about that self-talk, knowing that you believe in yourself doing something, your parents are behind you and they believe in you, you can really make something successful out of those beliefs. And it might not be what you think that it will be for your kid, but it could be something so much more.
Your parents' opinion?
Are we getting way too off track?
No. I think that your parents' opinion is going to have such a weight on your self-talk. I remember when I signed up for this volunteership, and I texted my parents, and my dad was, like, so on board with it, and I was still, like, iffy about it. I was like, should I do this? Like, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to not be so anxious about traveling across the world, you know? And I remember my dad was like, this is so awesome. You're going to do so great at this. Like, this is perfect for you. And my mom was like, what'd you say? You're like, well, first you said no. It's actually such a funny text. But she was like, I can picture you doing this. Like, this is going to be so good for you. And just knowing that they were behind me, I felt so much more confident with, like, pursuing this. Now that I'm, like, it's actually happening, I feel so much more positive about myself. And I actually believe in myself. Every single day when I think about it, I'm like, I cannot wait. Like, I'm going to be able to do this. Everyone believes in me. My parents know me the best, and they know that I can do this, so I can do it.
Yeah.
So as a parent, always be encouraging them to do their best, because you never want your kid to be talking badly about themselves.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that said, you are the voice in your kid's head, and I was like, oh.
No, it's so true, you are.
But yeah, it is really true. And not necessarily just because your kids might have some negative self-talk, that's not a parent's fault. I will take the blame for a lot of things, and I will take the blame for some of that, but it's also it's up to us to get rid of that. But I do believe that if we have positive self-talk and belief in our kids, that is going to stay with them, just like Braylee was saying. But yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh no, what have I done? But it's a good reminder.
I think it's also important for kids to, like, really make sure that they're appreciating their parents. Maybe I'm not the best at this sometimes, but I notice that if I'm like, thank you, Mom, like, I really appreciate that, then your mood changes. But if you're never, like, thankful for anything and you're always disrespectful and arguing,
My kids never.
Then they're going to think they're a bad parent. They're going to think that they're not doing the best that they can, even though deep down you know that they are a great parent.
Yeah, I think that just sometimes as a kid you forget. You just forget to voice your gratitude because it's just like everyday things.
Or you do
so
it in a different way.
Yeah, which it is always good to voice those things, I think, on both sides. Something that I really try to do is tell my kids that I love them and tell my kids that I'm proud of them, because those are things that I think all the time. And I just want to make sure that I'm voicing them as much as I'm thinking them.
I love words of affirmation. Like, that's my love language. So every time you send me those texts, my day is automatically 10 times better.
Yeah. It's just, it's just little things like that we forget because, again, it's just day-to-day things, or it's something that you think a lot. So if you're appreciating something that your parent is doing or your child is doing, voice that and tell them.
I don't think kids realize how much of an impact their mood and their gratitude. Is gratitude just tips?
Gratuity. Their gratitude. The sun just went down. We're so tired now.
It's a Monday. I don't think kids realize the impact that they have on their parents by being thankful or by their mood or by being grateful. Gratitude.
By
tip
showing
your
that
parents.
gratitude. Yeah, tip them every once in a while. That would be nice.
Like, I personally don't realize that even how much that can impact your parents, because I think it's easy to forget your parents are human and they have feelings too.
Something I try to remind my kids about a lot. I'm like, hello. Feelings are happening here.
So just try and be thankful, because I never want you to think you're a bad mom, because I think you're the best mom.
Yeah,
I'm so thankful for you.
Imagine the voices in my head that you're creating. Goes both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We were planning on talking maybe a little bit more about manifesting and affirmations in this, but we've been jabbering for a while. So maybe that can be something that we continue in an upcoming episode. We would love to continue the conversation about negative self-talk. What has worked for you? What have you found that has been a way to pull you out of those times when just negative self-talk is overtaking you? And you know what you did. We would love to hear about it, or any advice that you have for anyone who's kind of stuck in that place.
Remember to leave some topic ideas that you guys would maybe want to hear about down below.
And also, let us know if you would like 2 episodes a week. What we're thinking is that maybe we could do a Q&A, or we were thinking that we could read some of your emails. So if there was something that you wanted to write in and tell us about, something exciting going on in your life, some moments in your parenting, or different things that you've maybe gone through with your parents, we could read your email, talk a little bit more about that, and just, hopefully celebrate those times with you guys. And that could be a really fun way to continue the conversation and to involve you guys and to really connect, by hearing your stories. So let us know what you think.
Also, let us know if you would want us to do. Let us know a lot of things.
Let us know all the things. Let us know how we should do this podcast.
If you guys want to hear like the kid and parent side of current events, because I think that would be a cool episode.
Yeah, I definitely think that we should.
Yeah.
We should talk a little bit more about that. And if there are current events that you would like us to talk about, we're always going back to the previous episode or episodes before that. So go there, leave a comment, and we will look for those topics too. And you could even put like current event and then write what you would like us to talk about, and then also your opinion on it, because that would be really, really cool, is to have other people's opinions going into the episode. So if you have a topic, we would love the topic idea, and then maybe a little insight into your opinions and your thoughts about that topic.
That's a good idea.
Because there are so many times that I will go and I'll read comments and I'll respond to them, or Braylee and I will have a conversation about them, and I'm like, we need to do another episode, and I need to like talk about all of these things and all of these people's opinions. And Braylee's like, let's give it some time, and we can revisit. But it would be really cool to have those.
Just remember, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to have the perfect body and look like everybody else, or be the smartest in school, or the best kid, or the best mom.
And just remember that those negative thoughts in your head are lying to you.
They are.
They're lying to you.
Everybody's perfect in their own way.
Everyone is great, and everyone is doing their best, right?
Oh, yeah.
So just keep doing your best. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Mom. Love you. I'm thankful for you.